So anyway, I moved the family up. I say goodbye to the guys. Maybe loosely keep in touch with a couple of them. And
like which couple of them?
I don't know.
Do we have a safe word? Do we have a safe word?
I said for you to ask anything. Jeez. I think I kept in touch with definitely with Rodney and probably Jim and George. The George scenario at that point.
Yeah, George.
I think we're patching things up around then because, I think because the Dishwalla thing was in the past for both of us.
Right. Because he was not there. You weren't there.
Yeah. George is in California. I'm up there. And, right.
Who called who? Between you and George.
Oh, I don't know. I want to say I probably did, but
okay.
I think in all honesty, here's what happened.
Thank you.
Here's what happened. Let's just cut to it.
Thank you.
The band hadn't spoke to each other in a few years,
right.
And we get offered a show out of the blue. And so I should preface this by saying, if we'd had better management and a little bit of direction through the rough times, because here's what happens every decade, okay? If you're a band in the 70s, once the 80s come around, a lot of them become sort of lame for a little while, till people get nostalgic and they remember the songs that they loved when they were in high school or college, and then it turns around and all of a sudden they're nailing it. And I can remember in about 2002, doing a show in Cleveland or somewhere, who knows. And we did a show that was like okay attended. And I looked across the street and it was like Poison, Warrant, and Dawkins doing a show, sold out, can't get in. And it's so fun. And everybody's like loving it. I'm like, oh yeah, wow. Everybody, the 80s are back. People love it. And that was in 2002. And so I didn't put it together that the rough time that we were heading into was our decade of suffering a little bit until people came back around. And when things came back around, you have like Art from Everclear created the Summerland tour, to capitalize on this 90s nostalgia. Yeah. And so things started to turn around. A few years later, we get offered a show. I hadn't talked to the guys in a bit. Scott, do you want to do this gig in Wisconsin? It's called Rock Fest. I'm like,
out of the blue.
Yeah, out of the blue. I'm like, JR's on board? Are you sure? And I'm like, okay, count me in if everybody's in. And so I'm, all right, I guess I'll learn how to play this stuff, right?
But you sold all your gear.
Well, yeah, I did. I maybe had a bass.
Okay. So what did Shelly say when she saw you woodshedding again? That's interesting.
Well, before we get there, we thought JR said yes, and which he did, and then it turned into a hard no from his manager, which was our old manager. Okay.
See,
So he got a little bit of influence from his wife and from his manager and said, don't do it. You need to he needs to differentiate himself from the 90s, from that band. He's trying to launch a solo career. Okay. All right. So now we've agreed to, we've signed contracts for the gig at that point. We've signed contracts.
Thinking JR was on board.
And so what happened was we either tell him we can't do it, or we ask someone that we think can pull it off real quick. And so we went to this kid we knew that had a studio in Santa Barbara that we knew we'd rehearsed at his studio before and loosely knew him. But he was basically like the equivalent of like he was in high school when Dishwalla was big, and we were the band from Santa Barbara that he kind of looked up to.
So this is like the Arnel Pineda story,
Well, yeah, it is. And it's much like me with Toad the Wet Sprocket, going to the same high school. And he sees us that we went to that same high school. And he's an accomplished singer. He could pull it off. And he's like, heck yeah, I'm on board. I'll do it. I'll learn the songs. And, it's like 40-minute set or something. It's with, it was with Wallflowers and Matchbox 20. And Tesla.
Oh, that was a dream for him.
I know, right? So you got pictures of him and the singer from Tesla and stuff at that show. But anyway, that was Justin's first gig. And so time passes on. We get offered another one. Hey, Justin, you want to do another gig? Okay, sure. and then
So pretty much Justin was the one off until it became
until we're like, what the word we were getting was that we could do better and get more full length tours if we put some points on the board and did a bit more work. So we decided to do a West Coast leg where we signed on. We did a West Coast full on tour and that worked out great. We had a blast doing it. And we're like, well, if we make a record with him, then that'll even legitimize us even more. And so we did a record. But
but hold on, we're there already. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. You're managing Akiva.
Yeah.
You have 3 kids, Shelly, a nice house in Boise, and you're back doing this.
Yeah, but I'm not fully back in. Now it's on our own terms.
I know. But then again, what was the conversation like? I'll be back.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. It was hard on her because she's just like, I thought you were done.
Exactly. And the reason why I'm asking this is because there are musicians out there and people out there who have partners in lives who.
Yeah.
So
I know. And
you were honest, right?
Yeah. She has still, she's supportive. She wants me to be happy, but at the same time, it's like, really? Like, do you already did that. Why do you feel that you need to do it more? It's just like, I don't know. I just love it. And now it's more on our own terms. We go out when it works for us, when it works for our careers and our children, our families. We go and do some shows, so it's not like it used to be. I feel like I'm trying to convince you, like I'm trying to convince my wife. Yeah, Paco understands. He'll let me go on the road and play with the guys.
Yes.
Yeah.